All right, about to jump on with a setter from one of the sales teams that I'm managing. We're May 21st, we're like right there at 100K cash collect. So I'm having a meeting with two setters, two one-on-ones with the setters, and a one-on-one with the closer. And I'll kind of show you guys how I conduct these meetings. It's really QC, quality control, doing a lot of call reviews, and just making sure that they're tightened up, making sure they're doing what they got to do, making sure, you know, we're gonna hit that 100K in cash collect, hopefully within this week.
Hey, Sam.
What's up, Danny? How are you doing? First things first, how are things kind of going? Like just from like a bird's eye view, like how are you feeling about the process? How is everything moving?
Yeah, I feel like I was on a roll like 2 weeks ago, and I've kind of like I don't know, I'm just not doing as well as I was. My show rate's gone down a little bit, which is, I don't know like what I'm doing wrong there.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just like I feel like the show rate isn't as good as it.
Well, let's do this. Let's do a few call reviews, because I feel like call reviews help because like you're able to just kind of get like a different perspective on it, and then we can kind of look at maybe what we gotta like tighten up, train a little bit to kind of give you a little bit of boost here. So if you want, drop a few like fathoms, because I know you guys do those on the actual, and you guys actually do those on like the Zoom, and then I'll just share my screen and I'll kind of do a whole call review with you, and then we'll just kind of go through it.
Should I give you like a call that didn't show?
We can do multiple of them. But yeah, I would say let's look at the ones that didn't show, and then we can also look at the ones that you felt like you did good. So we can kind of look at like what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, what's the difference.
Okay, I have one from yesterday. This guy was actually super challenging. He wanted to get on a second call with Monica, but he didn't show up. So yeah, he was kind of like working with another agency that was doing his like Instagram, Facebook, and Google and that sort of thing. So I said to him, like, if that's all good, like if that's working out for you, then I mean there's no real reason for us to really work together. And I just probed a little bit and I was like, are they giving you any kind of guarantee, how the leads and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
And then he was interested. So then I kind of like felt like I needed to get him on a second call.
Yeah, we'll take a look. Getting on a call in the first place, there's something that they feel like that company could be doing better. So, I mean, usually people won't book a call if like everything's going perfectly fine, but usually with these type of people, we just have to dig a little bit harder. I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can get into it. Share sound.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hi there.
Hi.
There we go. Yeah, thanks for hopping on the Zoom with me.
Jen's over there.
Okay, hi Jen.
Hi. Sorry, but she's in here too.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so you're saying that you are currently doing some type of marketing, but it's not really giving you the results that you want?
Yeah, so it's okay.
Cool, so I think, again, like we want to make sure that we're following the process. So always set the frame, right? Just like it's in the script where it's like, just because like, you know, I like this because like you're getting right into discovery, but we want to make sure we're setting a strong frame from the jump, just so it kind of prevents anything from happening from him trying to take the frame back, right? So instead of like...
I was on a call with him, like a 2-minute call before, and then he was like, so I'd set the frame, and then he was like, oh, I found the link, like, I'm going to hop on.
Got
so
you.
we kind of spoken a bit previously,
okay,
which
got
is
it.
why I was...
Are you guys going straight to the Zoom call, and then if they don't show up, you give them a ring?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So they're booking in like 15-minute Zoom links with you and Callie?
Yes.
Got it, okay, that makes sense. So yeah, that was one thing. It sounds like you already did it. Good job.
We mainly do networks and digital door knockers.
Okay.
And, they're both okay. I mean, we get about 2 leads a day from them. I think the networks are okay, but the digital door knockers, I think their approach, I think they try to discount our services too much, and I'm just not really up on that.
Okay.
Kind of a medium to high, well, I have 2 companies first off. I have a roofing company and I have a window company. And we try to aim for kind of a medium to higher end customer. And I think digital door knockers aims for a bargain price customer, and that's just really not our niche.
Okay. All right, so you guys are in San Antonio, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And currently, how many jobs are you doing on like a monthly basis?
Good question.
It kind of varies, but we do, like right now, I have one job that's a $350,000 job. We have, our roofing jobs are anywhere from, $6,000 to $20,000, and we'll get those every week, every other week.
Okay. All right, got it. And yeah, so if you guys are getting like 2 leads a day right now, how many of those would you say are actually closing? Like if you could give me in a week, like how many are closing of those?
Great question.
1 out of every 3 or 4.
Okay, all right, so it's not too bad. I mean, I've heard of some horror stories from people dealing with, Angie's and that sort of thing. So, I mean, is that work, other work that you're getting, is that from referrals, word of mouth, and that sort of thing, or is all of it coming in just through the marketing agencies that you're working with?
Word of mouth is our best ROI.
Okay.
For sure.
The other thing too, did I show you guys how to kind of keep the script right on their forehead?
Yeah, I actually need to I need to start doing that. I did do it for a couple calls, and then I just stopped for some reason, but I'm definitely gonna implement that.
Yeah, super small, but just because you can kind of tell you're looking at the script, and then you kind of look back at him. So it's just nice because you're able to kind of not get caught up where it's you have that next question there, right there on his forehead, where it still looks like you're looking at him, but you kind of have that right in front of you. Yeah, this is still good so far. One thing I would say is right when he mentions so it kind of varies. We do this, we do that, we do this. I'd be like, gotcha. So I know you mentioned you do roofing and the window cleaning. I guess are these two separate companies? Are you treating them as two separate companies, or you guys just kind of under one roof do both services? Right. I would just kind of start digging very much so childlike curiosity, just being very curious about his business, so we can start to open up a little bit more. Because then from that part we can really hone in on hey, well, we help you get more roofing jobs. How much revenue a month is coming in from the roofing side, right? So we can really get a current, a dialed down current situation. Because this is he gave us we do 350 here, we do 6 and 20, so it's okay. We can kind of do the math in our head, but I rather just ask him, just how consistent is that? I mean, consistently, where are you guys at revenue-wise, on the roofing side, right? Just so we can get that current situation with a number attached to it.
I went out of every 3 or 4.
Okay, all right, so it's not too bad. I mean, I've heard of some horror, all of it coming in just through the marketing agencies that you're working with.
Word of mouth is our best ROI.
Okay.
For sure.
And are you guys doing any type of door knocking?
Yeah.
You said right here, our word of mouth is our best ROI. I'd want to dig a little bit on this. Gotcha. So I mean, how many jobs did you say are coming from word of mouth versus the paid ads and the current kind of strategies you guys are using with lead generation? Right. Because we're trying to find a pain point in the lead gen. Because referrals, I mean, we're never going to touch referrals. That's a great business. Yeah. But he's on the call to help get more acquisition through lead generation. So I'd want to figure out hey, you mentioned word of mouth is most of your return. So how much is kind of coming from the lead generation strategies versus the word of mouth, right? And that's why it's kind of important to get a dialed in current situation. Because if he's yeah, we're doing about 400,000 a month, then you can really dial in where it's oh wow, so you're saying pretty much 300,000 a month is coming from word of mouth, and you're only doing about 100 from the lead generation, right? And then we can start digging more on so when it comes from the lead gen side of things, I mean, how much are you guys spending on ads? What does that look like? So then you can kind of start to in your mind realize oh wow, the amount that he's spending on leads, he's not getting nearly enough return, right? And you can kind of start digging more on that and asking okay, well, what's going wrong with this, or the leads quality, or the lead, you know what I mean, and start kind of digging into that pain point.
Yeah, how big is your sales team?
We scaled it back. It was 7 people. Now we've only got 3 on the roofing side, 1 on the window side.
See, and that's why I like to ask that question up front, roofing versus, because now we can really identify, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys are more so running leads for just roofing, right? Probably not the window side. So that's why you want to identify roofing versus window, because our whole offer is based around getting him more high-ticket roofing jobs. And then from there, this is a good question, but I would want to this is a good qualifying question, but also with this being said, right, when we can understand how much, the current revenue and profit is from the roofing side, how much is coming from referrals, how much is coming from the lead generation, what's going wrong with the lead generation, and then we ask this question, it holds more weight, because you can be oh wow, so you went from, I mean, you've had to cut your sales, it sounds like you've had to cut your sales team in half. You see what I'm saying? He's mentioning he's had to go from 7 people to now 3. So he's scaling it back, which means if you're scaling your sales team back, what does that normally mean? You're not getting enough leads, right? Which is the pain point of what he's running into.
I mean, I'd like to be 1 a day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can handle 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah. How many crews do you guys have that you're working with right now?
I have 2.
You see, we're asking kind of the wrong questions. Because we're kind of just asking. Funny enough, we kind of have this thing called it's not the most, I guess, best way to put it, but fuck you questions versus good questions. And I'm not saying these are fuck you questions, but the fuck you question is kind of when we're just asking questions for not really a specific reasoning behind it, right? I'd like the sales team question, but it's more so I want to make sure how much where are we actually currently at, and where are we getting the business from? Because then when you ask the salesperson, it's a good qualifying question. I like that in the script. With that being said, he mentioned, I went from 7 to 4. He's pretty much on the roofing side 7 to 3 salespeople. So right there, you can be oh, is it? I mean, just curious. It sounds like you cut your sales team in half. Are you guys just not getting enough business coming through the door, or are you guys not seeing enough inbound? And that way, you can tell he's already saying hey, I can handle 2 or 3 a day, right? And then we just kind of ask how many guys are we working? It doesn't. That's kind of that question doesn't really fit, in terms of our sales process, because our job is to really get him to that painful state of man, he's doing this little amount of jobs, he could be doing 2 to 3 more. You know, what do we have to do to actually hit that level? What do we have to do to make sure this is actually scaling, right?
You guys are looking for
Quality.
the quality. Okay, so it's just going through all those tire kickers and stuff like that. That's taking up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I mean, yeah. What's your timeline looking like right now? Like, how soon are you guys looking to get going if everything is fine?
Immediate, great. This is actually a pretty good lead.
Alright. So what I heard from you, you guys are definitely like not getting the volume that you want. You're at like 5 to 10 jobs a month. Ideally, you want to be doing like 30 reps a day. You can handle like even above that. But you've just been struggling because you've been getting like a bad amount of quality.
See how like right now we're in that transition phase. 5 minutes in, we're already transitioning where we haven't gathered nearly enough information, right?
Yeah.
So like in discovery, you know, obviously we have like stage 1, pain and doubt in their current situation, and then we have all like I kind of try to do that to make it simpler, but I actually want to make it even easier for you. Like the whole point of a discovery call, like which is an intro call, is pretty much like we should be in discovery like 10-12 minutes, and then just a quick pitch and then sell Monica, versus like 5 minutes digging and finding information into like a lot of time explaining what we do. And that's actually this is the number reason why your show rate's dropping, is you're selling the product, not the consultation. Right? If we sell the product on the intro call, they already kind of know what they're getting, and it's like, okay, well, what's the price and what does this actually look like? Versus, hey, you know, you have X, Y, and Z problem. This is where you're looking to get to, and it's like, we definitely can help you out. Let me give you a quick context on how we do that, and then I'll set you up with our lead consultant. Right? So like, the pitch should be very short, and we can also pull up the script and kind of walk through it to show you an example. Matter of fact, I'll actually do that. That's actually a good idea. Perfect. Okay, this is the exact script. So like, for example, I know you did this on the first call, but like, for example, like right here, this is where we kind of missed it, right? We asked like, how many jobs are we currently doing? But then he was like, well, I have, you know, the roofing side, and we also have the window side. And then he was like, we do this many jobs for this and this many jobs for this. And like, we didn't really get a specific current revenue and profit in red there. So that's where like in this stage, if I had this script pulled up and I was talking to you and you were him, like, gotcha, so you mentioned you kind of have both sides. I mean, you know, obviously we're here to help you guys get more roofing jobs. So how much, like just from the roofing perspective, are you seeing like in terms of like monthly revenue consistently? That way he can be like, oh, we're doing about 300, 400,000 a month, whatever the case is, right? Gotcha, and you know, I mean, how much overhead do you guys have? You know, we always want to make sure that, you know, you guys we're scaling profitably. We speak to a lot of different companies, like where are our margins at? And then he's gonna be able to tell you like, oh, well, our margins are about 30%, 40%, whatever the case is. So then you can, in your mind, kind of know like, got it, so he's doing around like 100,000 a month, whatever the case is, which is a very qualified lead, don't get me wrong. And then from there, that's when we can kind of get into like, so how are we currently acquiring like new roofing jobs, right? And he's like, well, we're working with Thumbtack, and we're working with this lead gen company. Like a lot of the objections that actually came out here, where he's talking about like, oh, well, we already have an Instagram team and all this stuff. Notice how that came after we started pitching. See, like we're in pitch mode here. We want to gather that information before we start pitching. Because if we gather that information first, then we can prevent that from happening, because then you can start say, oh, we have an Instagram team, we have this team, we have this team, and it's like, well, you mentioned a lot of like your business is coming from referrals. So I mean, how much are you investing into all these different marketing teams that aren't really getting you that return you're looking for, right? And notice how like I'm still right here, I'm still in probe mode, which I know this isn't on the script, but this is what I want to teach you guys, is like to be able to kind of think on your feet and really just like know the process in terms of like, it's my job to know where they're currently at and what they're currently doing and what's going wrong. That's the whole point of like mini discovery, right? Because then notice how well that flows into like, okay, so ideally, I mean, where are we looking to be, right? Because like notice how we didn't even get a goal. That's another reason why our show rate's dropping, is we just kind of got a little bit of what he's doing, and then we pitched and he didn't show up because like there was really no urgency or need for him to be there. But if we really dialed in on like, okay, we're getting referrals, what's going on with the marketing, what's going wrong there, and if we can get these things fixed, where do we want to be, right? Because now notice he's like, I'm doing about 300,000 a month, I want to get to 600,000 a month. That's a big gap, and there's a lot of pain in the middle where we can actually we can plant that seed to say, hey, we're someone that we can help you with this, right? Because then when you get the current situation, then you can continue to probe where it's like, you know, hey, you mentioned you've worked with a few different companies. Like, what exactly was kind of missing from these other companies? Yeah, I know you mentioned quality, but you also said you guys could take on an extra 2 to 3 jobs a month. So is it a little bit of both, volume and quality? He's like, yeah. It's like, gotcha. So let's just kind of walk through both. And the volume side, I mean, how many leads are you guys getting? And how many of those are actually even qualified, right? What is your current marketing team doing to vet and qualify these people? And you see how deep I'm getting? I'm really getting deep on like what's currently going wrong. I'm finding all the issues to build ammo on how we can be different, right? And then it flows really well. I'm like, well, with that being said, Danny, I guess, you know, walk me through like what exactly are you looking from a potential new marketing partner, right? Like what boxes do you need checked off? And he's really open up, because now we've gotten all the pain points in the air of what's going wrong, right? Like, well, my marketing isn't getting me quality leads, they're not getting me enough leads, I'm spending all this money on all these different teams. And especially with these guys who have like multiple marketing teams, I always take the frame of like, well, would you rather have, 3 or 4 different people and vendors that you're kind of outsourcing to, or just kind of have it all in-house and have one company be able to like really deliver?
Yeah.
And now you see what that's doing? Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. What if you're dealing with a prospect that's giving you like hardly any pain, and like I felt like I was really battling to get information out of him. I think that's why I rushed through the intros. I was probably feeling awkward. I just need to know how to like combat that and how to just really like,
Yeah, no, 100%. Great question. So, I mean, that really comes to we were missing points in the script, right? So, like for example, if we go like even just looking at the like the transcript, like we jumped on how many jobs are we doing? Okay, how big is our sales team? And then we asked like how many crews are we working, which is kind of the same question, just in a different way. Where for him he was like, okay. And then we went right into like, notice how we skipped all of this and went right into preventing urgency. So we skipped all of this, all in highlighted. Like we didn't really dig into what the actual issues were with his current marketing. And we also completely skipped out on like, what does he actually want to do? What's his goal? And what does he need from us to get to that goal? Because when you do all that, the urgency question is like, it's a money question. Because like now you got to the point where like, for this guy, for example, maybe we find out he's doing $400,000 a month. Maybe we find out he's doing about 30% margins. Then we find out 80% of his business is coming from referrals, and the 20% of business that he's getting from marketing that he's overspending for aren't getting him the return that he needs. Right? What's going on with that? Well, they're not getting me the volume, the quality's not there, X, Y, and Z problem, right? Gotcha. Okay, so ideally, where are we looking to be if we can get that buttoned up? Where are we looking to be if we can actually fix all these problems? Now he's like, well, I'd love, I can take on 2 to 3 more jobs a month. I can, which pretty much what he's saying is like, or no, he said 2 to 3 a day. So pretty much what he's saying is like, I can take on 2 to 3x more business, meaning he wants to 2 to 3x his business. It's a very big gap. And then like, right, this is where we really start to probe, where it's like, gotcha. So like with, you mentioned like you've worked with this company and like that wasn't really working. I mean, what exactly do you need from us? Like just to make sure we're actually meeting those boxes from a new partner to be like, I can take this whole team all in-house and actually hit these goals. And notice how these questions are so specific because we're asking them for a specific reasons. That's kind of the difference between like fuck you questions and like real questions. It's like real questions are like, we're asking buying questions in terms of what can we get him to tell us that's a buying language? Meaning, I want a company that does all of this for me, that gets me a good volume of leads, that gets me quality leads that I can do 2 to 3x more business with, right? Okay. And then once he tells you that, then it's like, cool, with that being said, walk me through kind of like your timeline, right? As far as like, if we can meet those standards, when are you looking to get the ball moving forward? And when he's like immediate, now we know we got him. Mm-hmm. Right? And then from there, like instead of kind of going on this whole like rant about like what we do and how we're different and all this stuff, like see how like now he's taking the frame, he's asking you questions, right? So okay, so I don't really know that'll be a fit for us because of this and that. Like see how he's kind of selling himself out of it. Mm-hmm. So the big thing is on your setting calls, it should feel like they're selling themselves to you. You shouldn't feel like you have to sell. It's actually not your job to sell, right? Like as a setter, we don't have to sell the product. We have to sell Monica in a consultation and how she can really dive deep and figure out how we can create a custom solution to their problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's why. Go ahead.
Like frustrated that they don't even know like what we do with like, because I've had them say like, I don't want to hop on another call when I don't even know, what I'm looking at in terms of pricing, what you guys even do. Like I think I'm scared that they're gonna give me that kind of.
Well, I'll show you. So like, for example, if you follow the process where like you get the following, right? You get the current situation and you attach a number to it. How much revenue are we doing on the roofing side? Okay, and how many jobs are coming through? Got it. How are we currently getting those jobs? And he mentioned that word of mouth is his biggest ROI, meaning his current marketing isn't up to par, which is why he's on the call, right? Then if we figure out what does he need from a partner to actually fix that problem and where does he want to be at? What's his goal? Does he want, if he wants to 2 to 3x his business, that's why it's important to attach numbers, because it's like, okay, so you want to go from 300 to 600,000 a month, because that holds a lot of weight, because we're talking about $300,000 a month in revenue that he's missing out on without having a good proper marketing team. And he knows that. That's why he's jumping on all these different calls trying to figure out a solution to his problem. So when we do that, now like there's no such thing as like, oh, well, why do I need to, I don't want to get in the call because I don't know what you guys do. It's not even about that. He wants to get on the call because he's like, man, I have a big problem and these guys might have the solution to it. So we're pre-framing it. And then like, for example, and this is where you kind of get into like the identity theme, right? Where it's like, hey, well, look, like I mentioned, we don't work with everyone. I do appreciate you again for kind of walking me through everything there, John. But, based on everything you told me, I definitely think we can help you out. From what I understood, you guys are currently doing about $300,000 a month. Ideally, looking at 2 to 3x that, do about $600,000-$700,000 a month, but you've really been struggling to reach that just because, you're really still dependent on those referrals, which is great, but the current marketing that you guys are currently doing is just not getting you the volume or the quality you're looking for. Did I miss anything, or does that pretty much sum it up? Right? And now they're like, yeah, you've hit it right on the nail, Danny. I appreciate it. You've listened to me. right? You know my problems. You understand my problems. And then it goes perfect into your transition where it's like, well, great, I'll just kind of explain a little bit about the program, and then we'll go ahead and set you up with a final audit call with our lead growth consultant, Monica, to make sure that she feels like, we can 100% help you out, and it's everything you're looking for, and obviously make sure it's the right decision for you, right? Because remember, our whole frame of the call is, hey, just to give you some context, these calls more than anything are to see if we can even help you out, right? To see if you're even in the right spot to help you, since we come across a lot of different roofing companies at different levels who have different bottlenecks. So if you're cool with it, before we kind of dive too deep into the details, I just kind of got to get some context on how we can help. So that frame, and the reason why, we want to make sure we set that frame with a good tonality, with authoritative tonality, because it sets up the rest of the call. This call is not about them gathering information, it's about us gathering information to see if we can help them. But you're still doing a pitch, right? So you kind of answer all their questions, where it's like, so, one of the biggest things that we've seen that holds a lot of roofing contractors back from scaling, it's not necessarily a lack of ability or having the right system in place to keep the pipeline full of high quality, serious homeowners who are actually financially able to pay for jobs. But since most contractors are just focused on getting leads, they don't realize that a lot of time is wasted on homeowners who are just window shopping, or they don't qualify, they don't even really remember changing the roof. And the reason why I'm doing this is it's hitting their pain points. When they're listening to this, they're like, this is everything. It'd be like,
would you say that to someone who hasn't been through a marketing agency before?
If they haven't been through a marketing agency before, I still follow the same process, because you're giving them context on what other people like them have been through, but you are educating a little bit more. So for example, someone who's never worked for the roofing company, a marketing company, they're actually usually a little bit easier to close, because it's a new opportunity. So you don't have to sell so much different. It's you're selling new, and new and different beats better all day long.
Yeah.
So this is where the whole point is this. What this is actually, it's called a pre-frame. We're framing the buyer for a conversation. Because it's hey, this is the biggest things that we've seen holding roofing contractors back, which is all the issues that they're running into, right? And then they're like, cool, this is everything I'm running into. And then it's that's where we come in. We're a full stack multi-marketing partner where we advertise through different channels at the same time to ensure you're getting a consistent flow of serious leads. But most importantly, we're taking over that entire process from A to Z. So what does that mean? We're pre-qualifying every lead we generate, right? So you're only in contact with serious buyers. We handle insurance and finance checks to make sure that information is legitimate and they're approved for credit. And we're booking in-home appointments directly onto your team's calendar so they're ready to go. As a growth partner, we're looking to really expand with one client per area to not create a competition for ourselves. And then you're like, is that something you're looking for? So you actually do answer all their questions. You're telling them exactly what we do. And they're like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And then you're qualifying, because from the custom frame, you're letting them know what this call was about. It's about making sure we can help you. So now you're just great, well, just a few last things before we wrap this up. Again, we build everything completely customized, right? So you're actually preventing that objection, because you're letting them know everything we do is customized to every private partner we bring on. This isn't just a cut and paste system with unrealistic expectations, right? So I'll go ahead and set you up with our lead consultant, Monica, who's helped multiple roofing companies scale past $5 million a year. She'll show you how we work, share multiple success stories on how we've scaled other roofing companies with our system. And from there, we'll actually build a custom plan together for you based on where you're at now and where you'd like to get to. Sound good? And notice what's happening is you have to frame the whole call. You set the frame, you're holding the frame on every question, you're gathering all the information you need, and you're leading them through a process. You're leading them through hey, we know what you're running into, this is how we fix that. And then you're really getting those tie downs where it's real quick, is there any other partners involved that need to be there, right? Is there anybody, and you're getting those tie downs and making sure they're at a computer, they're at a laptop, and you're also pre-framing Monica. And that's how your show rates will be super high, because it's not your job to try to handle all the objections about how this works, because your whole frame is hey, I'm just here to make sure we can help you. So if they start asking you questions oh, well, what do you guys do? It's yeah, like I mentioned before, everything's very custom. It's a very personalized approach. A lot of those things you're running into, we kind of build custom frameworks on okay, based on your market and where you're at, how can we actually build a sustainable acquisition system? And that's why, personally, I want to make sure I can get you set up with Monica, because she's our lead growth consultant, and she can really dive deep into how all of this actually works for you. Really, my job here, John, just full transparency, is to make sure we can help you out and we don't waste each other's time, right? So you have that frame.
You wouldn't do any sort of price range or anything like that with them?
It's not your job. Yep. And if they ask, you can let them know hey, from what I've seen, we have it can really vary. Some roofers are really trying to ramp up to 10 million a year, and they're spending much more than other people. And obviously other guys, they might get away and spend a little bit less, but it's really going to vary. I really can't give you an answer. That's where Monica can really break that down and show you what that looks like. So you quite frankly are the gatekeeper, right? You're gathering information, you're making sure it's a fit for them and your company, and then you're selling Monica as a consultant. So the biggest things to work on, so I got to get on with Monica here, is, and actually what I can do here, I'll just go ahead and share. I'll just go ahead and share this link with her.
Yeah, I was also speaking to Monica earlier today. I think you've already told us what to do here, but I just needed like a reminder. I think I needed a refresher. But like if I'm dealing with a client that's like essentially the marketing manager on the intro, and they want to get on a demo with Monica, and they're like, well, you know, the owner's really busy and it's kind of my job to get the pricing and report back. Like I'm the decision maker, but I just have to get the green light. And they don't want to get the owner on the call. Like, what do I do in that instance?
So this is kind of how I frame it. It's like, hey, totally understand, but just to let you know kind of our process, anybody that is able to speak to Monica, we need the business partner there. That way, if he has any questions specifically in kind of how this works and how this is going to be working from the marketing side, we need him to be there. We really, to be honest with you, we just don't cut corners. So if that's completely impossible, I'm not sure if I can actually book that appointment, but if there is a way for where he can find 30 minutes, I can 100% get him. I can 100% make that appointment. So you're staying strong in your process.
Sorry. Yeah, like would you hop, like if they say, okay, well I'll need to speak to them, so like I can get back to you, would you just like let them go and hopefully they'll message me back? Like I always just get scared that they're gonna get cold and then like, you know, it's just never gonna respond and that sort of thing.
Here's what I would say is, this is again, bring it to the front. So if this is a trend you're seeing, I would always start with it up front, where it's like if they're kind of letting you know like, hey, I'm just a marketing manager, be like, cool, just before we kind of jump in everything, because everything we do is pretty custom. We don't just generate leads and throw names and numbers at you. Is there a way that he can be available? And you try to get him on the phone and she's like, no, he's not available right now. I'd be like, totally cool, just to give you a heads up. I mean, I can kind of walk you through, ask you a few questions and make sure we can help you. But if it does sound like something you guys would actually be looking for, we need to make sure he's going to be on that next call and lead with that, because that way, like the rest of the conversation flows. You still have the frame, and then at the end, when you're getting your tie downs, you can say, hey, like I mentioned before, we need to make sure he's there. There's really nothing. I can't really cut corners. Like you can kind of play that appointment setter, where you're like, hey, look, I can't really cut corners here. Our process is to make sure that they're there. So if he can't be there, there's not much I can do. I got to make sure that he's there for that meeting. You know, would it be impossible for him to find a time to get there? You see what I'm saying? Like you make it like very easy for them to say yes. Does that make sense? But what I'll do, because I know I just threw a lot at you, Danny.
It's in my brain. But yeah, it was
Did
definitely.
this kind of overcomplicate anything, or do you feel like this helped a little bit?
No, it definitely did help. I think like I just need to figure out how I'm gonna word things and like just be intentional about what I'm asking and like why I'm asking it. So
I think the easiest thing is make it.
Get too like sucked into the script, and I just like
Well,
forget to
also,
actually listen.
I would keep it simple, but also like, because you weren't even asking the questions in the script. Like we were asking like sales teams and crews, like, so.
Yeah.
I would still like make sure you're following the script, but understand that there's a reason why I have a lot of like in highlight probe and dig, is because like I want to dig on like what they're currently doing, what's currently going wrong, what's the issue? Is it volume versus quality, right? What's not happening for this to actually work? And then that's what's going to allow them to like really open up. So remember, like to keep it really simple in your brain, it's like make sure you're setting a strong frame, right? Hey, this call is really just to make sure I can help you out, right? You're kind of letting them know up front, this isn't just about pitching the product. It's like, hey, this call is really just to make sure I can even help you out, and then if we can, it's something it sounds like you're looking for, I can set you up with that next consultation. And then from there, it gets a little bit easier in terms of like actually kind of moving through with it. So that would be the biggest thing I would say, is like the biggest takeaways is like make sure you're gathering information. You're getting their current situation, you're getting the current numbers. What are they currently doing to acquire business and why that's not working, right? Okay, well where do they want to be if they can get that process buttoned up? What do they need from a marketing partner to get there, right? And then it's like, okay, well what's your timeline of moving forward if you can find that? And then you're doing that mini pitch and you're doing that. But even on the mini pitch, you're status framing, where it's like, hey, I'll give you a quick context, a little bit about how we do things. And then from there, we'll kind of, set you up with someone that if it sounds like it's something you're looking for. So what I'll do though is I'll drop this link, this Fathom link in the call, because I think it'd be helpful if you watched it a few times, just because you'll be able, because I know I threw a lot at you, but it'll give you kind of like, okay, I can slow down and actually listen to what he's saying, and it'll help you out, because I think that's the biggest thing, is just gathering more information and making sure you're actually building that gap. Where are they at? Where do they want to be? What do they need from us to get there? This is a little bit about how we do. If this is what you're looking for, I can set you up with a consultation, right? You're selling Monica. You're not selling the product. Does that make sense?
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and drop this link, and we'll do more of these every week. We'll do more 30-minute links, because I'm going to make sure to get you guys up to speed. But all right, let me know if you need anything else in Slack, okay?
Thank you. I will. I appreciate the call.
Of course. Bye. All right, and that's like a full like call review, quality control as a sales manager for a setter on a team that I'm managing. That's just kind of giving a lot of feedback on like if you have setters, if you're doing a 2-call close, which I highly recommend, is making sure that the setters are doing what they're supposed to do. I actually recommend spending double the time with your setters and your closers. So I'll go ahead and give this to you guys. Hopefully it helps.